In the span of just 24 hours, one man was arrested, put on trial, tortured, executed, and buried. And that same man would change the course of human history forever. Today, on the Shepherd's Path, we're walking through the last 24 hours of Jesus of Nazareth. Let's get into it. The year is approximately 30 AD. Jerusalem is packed. It's the week of Passover and hundreds of thousands of pilgrims have flooded the city. Jesus has been teaching publicly for 3 years. He has a following. He's performed miracles. He's challenged the religious authorities. And those authorities want him gone. They're about to get their chance. It begins at sundown. Jesus gathers his 12 disciples in an upper room in Jerusalem for what would become known as the Last Supper. This wasn't just a meal. Jesus took bread, broke it, and told his disciples, "This is my body, broken for you." He took wine and said, "This is my blood, poured out for many." Then he said something that stunned the room. "One of you will betray me." But Judas Iscariot already knew exactly what Jesus meant. He had already made a deal with the chief priests, 30 pieces of silver in exchange for leading them to Jesus in a private location. Judas slipped out into the night. After the meal, Jesus took his disciples to a garden called Gethsemane on the Mount of Olives. He went further in to pray and fell to the ground asking God if it was possible to let this moment pass. And yet he ended his prayer with, "Not my will, but yours." When he returned, his disciples were asleep. He woke them. And then torches appeared in the darkness. Judas arrived with soldiers and temple guards carrying torches and weapons. He walked up to Jesus and kissed him, the signal he had prearranged. Jesus looked at him and said, "Judas, are you betraying me with a kiss?" The guards moved in. One disciple grabbed a sword and cut off the ear of the high priest's servant. Jesus told him to stop and healed the man's ear on the spot. The disciples scattered. Jesus was taken. What followed was a series of rushed, illegal trials conducted in the middle of the night. Jesus was taken first to Annas, then to Caiaphas the high priest, where the full Sanhedrin council had assembled. When Jesus confirmed under oath that he was the Son of God, Caiaphas tore his robe and declared it blasphemy. But they had a problem. Only Rome could carry out an execution. So at first light they brought Jesus to Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor. Meanwhile, Peter, waiting outside in a courtyard, was recognized 3 times as a follower of Jesus. And 3 times he denied it. As the rooster crowed, he remembered what Jesus had told him at dinner, and he went out and wept. Pilate questioned Jesus and found no basis for a charge, but the crowd, stirred up by the chief priests, demanded his crucifixion. Pilate washed his hands in front of the crowd, declared himself innocent of this man's blood, and handed Jesus over to be flogged and crucified. After a brutal flogging, soldiers dressed Jesus in a purple robe, pressed a crown of thorns onto his head, mocked him, beat him, and made him carry his own cross through the streets of Jerusalem to a place called Golgotha, the place of the skull. At 9 in the morning they crucified him. At noon, darkness covered the land for 3 hours. At 3 in the afternoon, Jesus cried out, my God, why have you forsaken me?" And with his final breath said, "It is finished." The earth shook. The temple curtain tore in two from top to bottom. A Roman soldier at the foot of the cross said, "Surely this man was the Son of God." Before sunset, a man named Joseph of Arimathea asked Pilate for the body, wrapped it in linen, and placed it in a tomb. A large stone was rolled across the entrance. The 24 hours were over. And to everyone watching, it looked like the end of the story. It wasn't. Next week on the Shepherd's Path, we're covering what happened 3 days later and why it changed everything. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. I'll see you in the next one.